In a world where solving tricky math problems unveils hidden truths, a young brainiac named Aaoji navigates the halls of Tokyo Metropolitan Advanced Nurturing High School, a school known for admitting only the best and brightest. In the midst of academic challenges, friendships form and rivalries pop up. Aaoji, a quiet strategist, watches the points with a sharp eye. The school, like a giant chessboard, pits class against class, and as the chess pieces take their places, Aaoji finds himself caught in a web of mystery. Key cards go missing, leaders are guessed strategically, and the island test becomes a battleground. In this brainy story where points hold all the power, Aaoji carefully orchestrates his moves. It's no ordinary story, but the clash of brains, where the alliances are formed and broken, and the truth behind everyone's actions create a story that goes beyond the typical high school drama. The demand to choose between conflicting forces, the tension between alliances, and the revelation of true motives defines our hero's journey. Like us, are you eager to know what lies ahead for Aaoji too? Grab your popcorns because you'll be soon finding it out. Aaoji begins his day at Tokyo Metropolitan Advanced Nurturing High School. On the bus, he witnesses a blonde girl's request for a seat for an elderly woman, met with reluctance from most students. I mean, come on, students, it's just a seat, not the Iron Throne. Luckily, someone eventually offers their seat for the elderly lady. Arriving at school, Aaoji encounters the girl from the bus, who questions on why his gaze was fixed at her in the bus earlier. During the orientation, the president of the student council welcomes the freshmen. Aaoji learns more about the beautiful girl as they sit through the speech. Afterward, in Class 1D, students wait for their homeroom teacher, conducting introductions to foster connections. Their homeroom teacher, Chabashira-sei, arrives and begins distributing rule books while explaining special school regulations. It turns out that the students will reside in dorms with limited outside permission. Each student receives a monthly allocation of 100,000 points for in-school purchases. Are they buying textbooks or planning a shopping spree at the school mall? After class, Aaoji heads to the campus supermarket and encounters Suzyun. He attempts to have a conversation, but she rebuffs his efforts, expressing her disinterest in making friends. In the following days, classmates form groups, highlighting our protagonist Aaoji's struggle to make friends. Kushida, another beauty from the class, approaches him, seeking information about Suzyun to befriend her. Aaoji invites Suzyun to a cafe where they find a table, and Kushida approaches Suzyun. Detecting something amiss, Suzyun leaves, rejecting Kushida's friendship. The next day, the start of a new month, SAE reveals that points are allocated based on the homeroom teacher's assessment, punishing students for neglecting classes. SAE drops the ultimate bombshell 0 points for the month. It's like they're in a reality show where the stakes are their monthly allowance. Class D seems to be taking it in stride, though. Suzyun turns a study group invite into a fancy lunch date, treating Aaoji to an expensive meal. It's like saying, let's discuss equations over sushi. Aaoji hesitates but walks away with not just study plans, but also contact details. However, Aaoji faces rejection from classmates against his offer for study group. He contacts Kushida, who agrees to supervise a group for Sudo and others. After discovering Kushida enlisted 3 students, Aaoji questions Suzyun about letting Kushida teach. Suzyun plainly rejects the idea. However, once they agree, the trio organizes interviews for underprivileged students. Suzyun's condescending attitude drives them away, leaving her regretful. Kushida vows to address the issue, but Suzyun confronts Kushida. This impels Kushida to leave in tears. That night, Aaoji encounters Suzyun and the student council president, her brother. He attempts to physically discipline her, prompting Aaoji to intervene. Impressed by Aaoji's agility, the president inquires about his background. After midterms, SAE announces the excellent results, and Class D celebrates their success, crediting Kushida for her help. 3 days before the test, he stumbles upon Sudo in another brawl, this time with Class C students. Following the basketball practice, Suzune provides Sudo with subject summaries, emphasizing the need to balance studies with basketball. The next day, Aaoji and Kushida negotiate with a second-year student for past questions, settling on 15 points. The day before the test, Kushida distributes the past questions to classmates, relieving them. Se later reveals that everyone passed except Sudo, who scored 39 out of 40 and faces expulsion. Aaoji follows Sae to the roof after the class, attempting to negotiate for Sudo. Sae insists it's impossible to change the decision, and Aaoji, desperately trying to change a decision, gets hit with the ultimate price tag, 100,000 points. Luckily, Suzune joins them, offering to split the cost with Aaoji. Sae reluctantly accepts the deal. Later that evening, Aaoji thanks Suzune, who claims it was for her benefit. Later, the students gather in Aaoji's room to celebrate Sudo's return, curious about how Aaoji persuaded Sae. He credits Suzune for the success, skillfully deflecting the attention. After the party, Kushida asks if Aaoji likes Suzune, to which he blatantly denies. Kushida thanks him and leaves, forgetting her phone in the hurry. When he follows to hand over the phone, Aaoji uncovers Kushida's dark side, only to be hit with a threat straight out of a suspense movie. The next day, the teacher updates Class 1B on their points. Aaoji, Kushida, and Suzune share an elevator ride, but Suzune abruptly leaves, leaving Kushida with a sad expression. In class, Sae announces a delay in point distribution for Class D, due to a program issue. Aaoji is requested to meet Ikenos after class, who asks him to pretend to be her boyfriend to deter a persistent admirer. Aaoji declines, urging her to be honest with her feelings. Sakura, the admirer and the originator of the letter, joins them, and Aaoji gives them privacy. Sakura leaves in tears, suggesting rejection, while Ikenos thanks Aaoji for his help. Returning to class, Aaoji discovers Sudo facing accusations of attacking Class C students. Sudo's playing the self-defense card, but with a temper like his, classmates are giving him the side-eye. It's the classic trust issues in high school. The next day, Suzune questions Aaoji about his thoughts on not having Sudo expelled when they had the chance. Aaoji emphasizes the importance of unity in surpassing the class ranking system. Later, Kushida meets with Aaoji and organizes a meeting with 2 other students by the fountain after school. Later, the students investigate the crime, receiving an anonymous text as their next lead. Aaoji helps Ikenos discover she has 26 million points instead of the expected 100,000, while the search for leads is on full blossom. At Aaoji's dorm, it is revealed that Sakura witnessed the fight and sent the anonymous text. Sakura, however, refuses to respond to Kushida's call, and Suzune dismisses the importance of her testimony. Nighttime intrigue. Kushida, the master of secrets, takes Aaoji on a walk to discuss the case. Kushida contemplates a burning question. It's like a suspenseful midnight rendezvous, but then she decides to keep her thoughts to herself, leaving Aaoji and the audience in suspense. The following day, Kushida approaches Sakura for information on the crime. Sakura avoids involvement, fearing exposure of her secret life. Aaoji watches Sakura run away from Christina. As Aaoji wonders about Sakura's hidden life, suspecting she might be a webcam girl, he later joins her and Kushida in the campus mall to fix Sakura's broken camera. The creepy tech repair guy makes Sakura uncomfortable. Aaoji intervenes and insists on providing his information instead of Sakura. Later, as they relax, Kushida takes a bathroom break, leaving Aaoji alone with Sakura. He encourages her to testify for her sake, not anyone else's. Later, Kushida invites Aaoji to meet that night, where Kushida exposes Sakura's hidden life as a webcam girl. Suddenly, they receive a text where Sakura confirms her testimony. By noon, selected students from classes 1D and C face trial with the student council president as the judge. Aaoji, Kushida, Suzune, and Sudo are present for the trial. During the trial, with Class C representatives and their lawyers present, Suzune interrogates the Class D students, asking incriminating questions about the possibility of one person beating up 3 strong opponents without injury. Suzune then calls Sakura, her witness, to testify. Sakura describes what she witnessed in the gym that day, but the Class D lawyer dismisses her testimony. Sakura reveals she has proof on a flash drive, however the footage also carries her revealing pictures, yet she did not hesitate to save a student and preferred it over her secret life. However, the president adjourns the meeting to 4 p.m. the next day. Post-meeting showdown, the president questions Aaoji and Sakura's ability to prove the boy's innocence. Aaoji, oozing confidence, declares, "I can and will prove it." It's like the start of a legal thriller where Aaoji takes the stand as the ultimate truth seeker. Later, Aaoji finds Sakura alone in class, thanking her for helping Pseudo and promising to protect her. Sakura begins sharing more details, but Aaoji receives a text and he has to leave for the basketball court. Suzune sends a letter from Kushida's phone to the Class C boys, attracting them to the court. There, Aaoji reveals the installed security cameras, making them believe the entire fight was recorded. Fear-stricken, they swiftly decide to withdraw their complaint. Aaoji chess moves, checkmate losers. That evening, Sakura encounters a stalker in an alleyway, and suddenly Aaoji receives an sauce call from Sakura, who is then attacked by the obsessed stalker. Aaoji turns the tables on the creepy stalker, capturing the assault moment on camera. Plot twist, it's the tech repair guy. Now Aaoji's on a mission to make his life miserable. Cue the police arriving to escort the tech repair guy to his not-so-happy ending. That evening, Aaoji encounters the president of the student council, who offers him the position of secretary. However, Aaoji declines, avoiding further drama. Aaoji meets with Suzune, who accuses him of manipulating evidence to make Class C drop their complaint. Weeks later, after the conclusions of their exams, students start summer vacation. Suzune heads to the pool, encountering friends on the poolside. At the bus stop, she joins lively friends and heads to the pool. Meanwhile, a group plans to peep into the girls' changing room, install camera, and feast the eyes later. Pseudo and Ike the guard divert the attention with volleyball when Kushida raises an eyebrow at their peculiar behavior. The girls reluctantly join the volleyball game, eventually having fun in the game. Meanwhile, Yamachi, disguised as a cleaner, sneaks into the changing room, placing a do not enter sign. However, despite the attempts, Yamachi struggles to install the camera. The control room guy tells Yamachi to abort due to lack of time. While, at the beach, Ike fakes a stomach ache, taking over Yamachi's task. Ryan and his group pause at the Do Not Disturb sign. On the other hand, Ike hesitates, but the control room guy encourages him to persist with installation. Aaoji, intercepting a signal, asks Suzune for a motivational speech for Class D, where she discreetly removes other cameras. She then joins Aaoji by the pool. Aaoji playfully pushes Suzune into the pool, and others join, creating a ripple of laughter and enjoyment. Aaoji joins Sei at a school play about Icarus on a luxury cruise. He disapproves, calling it a waste of money. Someone wanted Aaoji out, but she played the denial card. However, with the power to boot him, she's got a special deal in store. Help her class rise to Class A, and she won't expel him. Aaoji reluctantly agrees. The next day, students explore the luxury boat Esperanza, where the boys are all over the class beauties, and they seek our protagonists' help as well to propose the girls they like. Pseudo gears up for a plot twist of his own, planning to ask Suzune out on a date. Meanwhile, teachers discuss students, and Aino Kosha reflects on his talk with Sei. Harada invites Aaoji to hang out, but gets refused. He then asks for help connecting with Suzune before leaving for a call. Suzune meets Aaoji to discuss the school's intentions behind the luxury cruise. Ryan teases Suzune, leading to a confrontation with his ex Ibuki. Albert, Ryan's bouncer, intervenes. A teacher receives a report from Miss Yumi, instructing her to await further instructions. Later, Sakura practices asking Ayanokoji out, who encourages her to open her heart, but Kushida intervenes and Sakura runs away. Ayanokoji avoids Kushida's probing questions and heads inside. The next morning, students sightsee an approaching island. Sei drops a bombshell, a surprise one-week special test. The collective gasp of shock echoes through the students. After receiving instructions, teachers release students for a week-long test on an island. Each class is given 8 tenths and 300 special points. Points can be spent during the week, with unused points converting to class points. Bonus points up for grabs. Successfully guess other class leaders and earn those extra points. While some suggest enjoying the points, while Harada and others propose managing them for more class points. Murmurs continue until toilet arrangements are brought up. The school throws a curveball with portable toilets, but the girls protest over hygiene. Their demand: boys buy a cleaner toilet to prevent infections, and they want something similar and separate. After much arguing, Class D ventures into the island's forest to find a camping spot. Harada resolves the toilet issue, deciding to buy a good one for the girls. Volunteers to scout the forest. Kunjay, Ayanokoji, and Sakura explore, with Kunjay energetically leaping through branches. They discover a cave, and Ayanokoji recalls that claiming a marked spot on the island grants unspendable bonus points. A colleague emerges from the cave, triggering stealth mode for Ayanokoji and Sakura. They successfully dodge detection as Katsuragi checks, narrowly avoiding exposure. Twist in the tale. Ayanokoji finds out the cave is already claimed by Katsuragi. The high-stakes game of hide and seek intensifies. Returning to camp, they discover Ike and Sudo found an ideal spot with a river and lush green grass. Reluctant, but with no alternative, they appoint Suzune as their leader. Suzune, waiting until the work is done, eventually claims the spot with the leader's keycard. Tents are set up, and Suzune relaxes under hers. Ayanokoji, Sakura, and their classmate venture into the forest, stumbling upon Ibuki, battered and abandoned by her own class. Class D extends a hand, offering her refuge, and with reluctance, she accepts. Later, they make a campfire, and the girls bring fresh fruits. Ike is praised for his help, and everyone settles to eat. Ike apologizes for not supporting the girls earlier. Harada explains how to spend points wisely. Students discover Kunjay has returned to the ship claiming illness, causing potential penalties for the class. In a flashback, young Ayanokoji is shown solving complex equations in an unusual experiment. On day 2 of the test, Harada assigns tasks, distributing rations evenly. Ayanokoji and Suzune scout the forest for potential issues. Ayanokoji helps Suzune due to concerns about Ryon. They meet Akinos, who leads them to Class B's camp, appreciating their orderly approach. Moving on, they find Class A guarding a cave, but Katsuragi inside allows them entry after a threat. Ayanokoji sees the benefits in enjoying life without worrying about points. Early on day 3, a thief steals something from Key's bag in Class D's tent. By day 4, Ayanokoji and Sakura explore the forest, discovering Class C's empty camping spot. They join Akinos and Class B students, and Ayanokoji learns about Katsuragi's conservative nature. On day 5, the girls find Key's stolen underwear and accuse the boys. Harada is asked to find the culprit, and the boys line up for searches. Harada checks his bag, shocked to find the underwear planted to incriminate him. Ayanokoji worries as the girls request a pat-down. Later that day, the girls propose separating the girls' and boys' tents to prevent further underwear thefts. Ayanokoji and Harada work on moving the tents, with Ayanokoji finishing by evening. While working, Ibuki approaches Ayanokoji, concerned about suspicions. She asks for his opinion, and Ayanokoji surprisingly expresses trust. Later, Suzune joins Ayanokoji by the campfire, and he confronts her about hiding an illness. Ayanokoji checks Suzune's temperature, revealing her illness. On day 5, Ike, Ayanokoji, Suzune, and others gather food. Ayanokoji subtly checks with Suzune about the key card's safety. Fast forward, Suzune takes a bath in the river, and after dressing up, she informs Ayanokoji privately that her key card has been stolen. Ayanokoji suggests keeping it hidden until they find the culprit. Suzune suspects Kai or a strange Class B student. Ayanokoji confirms Kai's innocence and plans to confront Ibuki. Later, Suzune smells fire and discovers the manual burn. Panic ensues, and Ayanokoji observes. Sudo points fingers at Ibuki as the suspected spy, leading to chaos. Suzune confronts Ibuki, accusing her of stealing the keycard. Ibuki attacks Suzune, who tries to resist, but she is overpowered. Ayanokoji, in his pragmatic style, suggests she bows out of the test for self-care. Ayanokoji carries Suzune to a teacher checkpoint and asks SAE to take care of her, even if she drops out. News about the stolen key card and Suzune's illness spreads. Ayanokoji informs Harada that Ibuki stole the key card, urging them to act quickly. On the final day, everyone packs up, and each class submits their guesses for the leaders. Ryan, appearing dirty and bruised, reveals that he stayed on the island. Everyone is shocked, and the students return to the ship. Suzune talks to Ayanokoji while Hashimoto confronts Katsuragi, and Ibuki apologizes to Ryuen for her failure. Ayanokoji reveals his entire plan to Suzune, explaining how he orchestrated Ibuki's theft of the key card to expose her as a spy. He had already figured out Ibuki's role and used Suzune to lure her into stealing the card. Ayanokoji advises her to change and reluctantly agrees to be her first ally, acknowledging the need for allies in the challenges ahead. In his mind, Ayanokoji reflects that he doesn't consider Suzune or any of his colleagues as true allies.